You've got to control the beginning and the end of your day with your thinking. And so one of the first things you need to do when you wake up, after you do your stretching, your prayer, your meditation, whatever it is to take a 5-minute window and control your thinking, whether you after your meditation, your prayer, whatever it is, but you take a 5-minute window and you visually see your goals and dreams. Picture them as videos in your mind. Picture them as you possessing them and see them written down on a sheet of paper. This will begin to control your mind for the day. And then at the very end of the day, what I do, one of the last things I do after my prayer, when I'm laying in bed at night, is I read through my goals and my dreams, I picture them, and I allow my RAS and my subconscious mind to go to work on them. When I get my sleep, it's going to work on revealing to me, it's playing back the video, believe it or not, of my day in my mind, and it is revealing to me the things that I may have missed in that day that could bring those things into my reality, and it helps me wake up ready to get them as well. So if you'll do that, where you wake up, you go to bed, and when you check your phone, you are going to alter those 9% of your thoughts. We can change the way we think. We change the 9% of our thoughts. We change what we obsess about. We begin to possess them. That thought opens up a new space that didn't exist before, just like that chair you're sitting in, and we'll begin to create those things in our lives. Use these 3 steps to change your thinking, and I know if we stack that up over a day, a week, a month, 3 or 4 years, and a decade, the direction of your life is completely different. You see yourself living like this.
What makes Brady want to win a 5th? What makes Jordan
at 39?
At 39, what makes Jordan say, "Okay, I got 4"? Like, it's not even a new season. He said, we got to get the 5th one. What makes Serena get 23 and still going? Like, what makes Venus, who was sick and should have been gone, now she's 36 years old, what makes her fight to get to the Australian Open? And I'm telling you, it's not the money, the network. It's not, the vision board. It's, I believe, for those of us who are where we are, it's something within. And you can't go buy that. I can't give it to you. Lewis can't. Like, you've got to go within and find that and pull that stuff out. You got to discipline yourself. I started looking at Mother Teresa, Gandhi, and I was like, yo, bro, Gandhi would go fast from sex, and he was married. He would fast from talking. I just started watching these great people and was like, yo, these people fast, and not about fasting, like that's not the piece, but they were very disciplined people, and they would not allow their exterior world to dominate or destroy their internal world. I just like, yo, I want to get to a place where I can control me. My family members have grown. I lost an uncle who cirrhosis of the liver, brilliant man, but just drinking. And I was like, yo, I do not want to. My father was a substance abuser for years. I was like, yo, I don't want a life where something else is controlling me. Like, for real, when I left home and said, I don't want to be controlled no more, like, I meant that. Like, I don't want nothing to control me but me. And so I got to put myself under extreme discipline to make sure I'm free. So when people see me, you get up at 3, you don't drink, you don't smoke. I'm not doing that because I think I'm better than nobody else, or I think you're gonna go to hell because you had a drink. I want to control, I want freedom. And for me, disciplining myself means more freedom. And the less you discipline yourself, people who, and I told my son the other day, I was like, yo, son, I don't not want you to have fun. I just seen a history of people who just have fun. Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween, New Year. Yeah. They're the people who
Thursday night, Friday night.
Oh man, every night. Yeah. They're the people who end up in their 20s having a great deal of fun, but in their 40s and 50s, they working for somebody, and I'm not saying nothing wrong with cleaning toilets, but they doing something they don't want to do for the rest of their life, and they can't retire because they played so much. So for me, I just look at Venus and Serena, Michael Jackson, when he used to, like, 5 and 6 just dancing all night. I just think the more a man disciplines himself, the greater, it don't mean it's gonna happen, but the greater the probability that he has this sense of freedom.
If I knew that I'd gotten myself into a bad situation, and rather than sit there and beat myself up over it, I would say, okay, you're in a bad situation, you got yourself here, nobody would blame but you. And now, instead of beating myself up over the fact that I got myself into that situation, I am simply going to say, only action matters. And so now I'm just going to start taking action to make sure that I'm fixing that woe. And I find, because I so value action, and by the way, I value it because I know where it leads to my desired outcome. It leads to learning, worst case. So taking that action, driving myself forward, pushing myself, that is what I'm going to reward myself emotionally for. So immediately I get this sense of relief from anxiety, from stress, from worry, because first I'm acknowledging how important that is in my life because it yields rewards. And then second, you're really going to get engrossed in it, and you're going to just be lost in the details of actually trying to solve that problem by leveraging your action to get the desired outcome. So those two things I think will serve you very, very well as you go down that process. So just make sure that you really have that emotional buy-in to the importance of action.
Most human beings are only living at about 40% of their capability. So the mind has a governor, like a car. If you're driving a car and the car has a governor on it, the car may say 130 miles an hour, but the governor is set for 91. Once that governor sets in, you get to 91, that car starts doing this. The car wants to go. The car wants to go, but that factory said, we're not going past 91. We have a factory, a nice governor in our brain, and it's a survival mechanism. It protects us from pain and suffering. The second we feel that, our mind says, oh no, this isn't fun. We should back off. We should sit down, find something more comfortable. And there's something about the mind. The mind has the tactical advantage over you at all times. At all times of your life, the mind has a tactical advantage over you. Why is that? It knows what you're afraid of. It knows your insecurities. It knows your deep, dark lies. And it starts to push you away from that. It pushes you in a direction that is comfortable. The mind controls everything. So what I realized was that when I was growing up and I was 300 pounds and I got all fat and I got all insecure, I realized that my mind kept taking me in this direction. When things got uncomfortable for me, when I was facing my insecurities, I was facing my fears, my mind said, oh no, we have the tactical advantage. We need to get you, separate you from this feeling over your life. It's all about feelings. We want the happy feeling. We don't want that feeling of this sucks. Why am I here? And you don't have any, so you can't answer those questions, so you leave. I started realizing that if in that moment you can answer those up questions and you are now in charge of your brain versus your brain ruling you, that's where all that stuff comes from. So the 40% rule is all of that. You get to 40%, your brain says, we're done. Let's roll, man. This is starting to get painful. This is uncomfortable. So you sit down. You have to figure out ways, and everybody's different. That's how the book kind of talks about, like we all have these things about, 5 steps to this and 4 steps to this. It's a lot more than that. That's all bullshit. It's a practice that you have to, it's a habit. So if you know that at 40%, I'm feeling pain. At 40%, I'm feeling pain. That's where the 40% rule kicks in. Now it starts. Okay, I'm feeling pain. My mind's saying all this to me. It's saying, get out of here, run, flee. The fight or flight kicks in. Okay, we're done. We're not good enough. It starts telling you all these things. You start to believe it because the mind controls all. This is the time where you have to gain control back of your mind. It's okay. Let me see if I can go 45%. And once you start giving yourself more and more hope and start realizing, okay, the mind starts to be, okay, what are you doing? We're supposed to be going right and you're going left. You start then controlling your mind. Start finding more in yourself. And then it goes from 40% to a lot further than that. But that's the start of it though. Get to the spot where your mind is saying stop. Whatever that is, you gotta get there first. And then that's when that starts to work for you. You gotta control yourself in that moment. A lot of people can live with themselves, look in the mirror and say, I'm okay with being afraid. I'm okay with going on this easy highway over here. The easy highway has all these signs and directions how to get somewhere. And you have to first be uncomfortable with how you feel about yourself. With that voice that a lot of us like to run away from, we all have it. We all have that voice that say, hey man, you're kind of wimping out right now. You're kind of being a little punk right now. But a lot of us say, okay, that's okay. It's okay to tell these little white lies to ourselves. So we first have to face the real you. The real me is David Goggins. The real me is a guy looking at you right now saying, I don't want to be on this show right now because I used to stutter as a kid. And I'm afraid of that. I'm afraid that here in a second, I'm gonna start stammering and stuttering and the whole world's gonna know that I have all these issues. But that's when I see right now, okay, Goggins, you gotta go on this show. That's Goggins. Goggins is saying, okay, David Goggins, you're a punk. Life made you this way. We can't live like this. We can't live in fear. We can't live in judgment. We can't be afraid of what the people right now are looking at me saying about me. We cannot be afraid of that. That's Goggins. Goggins saying, all of you who don't like me, who don't want to, and that person then comes in. But you have to be David Goggins and say, man, I'm afraid of this. I'm up here. Life made me this way here. I stutter. I have these issues with reading and writing, and I'm fat and I'm insecure. You have to face that in that dark room. In that dark room is who you are. But in that dark room is where you have to create another human being that walks out of that dark room to face who you are. That's the only way you're gonna get over all those things. You have to create someone else. Not like you have two different personalities, it is you. But you have to find strength. In that visualization of almost me cracking out Goggins, like almost like that Superman cape, like I'm coming out a different person, a person that doesn't give a f about anything, who doesn't care about being judged, who knows I'm weak, who knows I'm afraid, who says, whatever you think about me, take it, whatever, I'm here. That's Goggins. In the dark room, you face yourself, you realize you want to be better, you realize you don't want to be this weak, insecure person in the world who has all these problems that we all have. We all have. Social media is a great platform to tell you who we want to be, not who we are.
Habits and how you stick with them even when you're bored, even when it's not interesting anymore, long after it stopped being fun. The very secret to habits is caring about the thing that habit is meant to lead to. But for real, like really, what do you care about? And for instance, here is a life I pass no judgment on. Man, because if this is what you want and it like you love it and you're filled with fulfillment, it's amazing, great. If you want to sit at home all day and you want to cut your life to the absolute quick financially so that you're living in a tiny hovel with 5 other people, fine. And you're eating Tina's burritos. I don't even know if they still exist. So I could live off of that and you're cool. You boil it down to nothing. You don't have a car, no insurance, nothing. And you accept that my life is gonna be shorter than it would otherwise be. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna smoke weed a lot and I'm going to eat bad food a lot. Man, respect. Like if you do it with your eyes wide open and you're loving it and you're having a great time, the only reason that you never hear me talk about that stuff is from my experience, from what I've seen of other people, the only thing that gives the human animal the best feeling, which is to feel good about yourself when you're by yourself, is to do the hard things and to do things that bring fulfillment. And the things that bring fulfillment are often born of momentary suffering, but they allow you to get stronger in order to serve other people. That's it, that's just what I've seen. So I don't think it's better than the alternative that I just described. It's just the only thing that I've seen really lead to that sense of like deep fulfillment. So my thing about the specific part about the good habits are hard to stick with because they're boring, just you've gotta attach habits to things you actually really and truly care about. No one can tell you what to care about. You can certainly build that into your life. You can take something that's an interest and build it into something you care deeply about, which I've talked endlessly about, so I won't go into it here, but that is very, very possible. Associate your habits to that thing. Suddenly the habits will be very easy. Don't judge yourself. Live your life the way you want, but respect the realities of neurochemistry.